Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the GTR show. Great to see you. We are live without a net, so we never quite know what's going to happen, but super excited to be able to hang out with you. We have a very special guitar with us this morning. This is an RH Custom. It is number 030. And it is an awesome little guitar. So what are we going to be doing today? We're going to be spending some time hanging out with this guitar. We will be having a little caffeine, so if you can join me in that, bottoms up. We're also going to be going over some pentatonicized modes. That is to say, the Dorianized Pentatonic, the Phrygianized Pentatonic, and the Minorized Pentatonic, not to be confused with the minor pentatonic. But the idea is to kind of, per my student Brad, who I think is with us today, I've been hanging out with my students and kind of last week, Saturday, by the way, is my long kind of teaching day where I kind of do all my teaching in one day. And last week, usually when I start with a student, I kind of like, well, what are your goals? What do you want to do? Who are your influences? So on and so forth. But last week I kind of revisited with all my students and what are your top 5 things that either you really suck at or maybe are aspirational that you want to see become more of a reality. And Brad sent me this Google Doc with bullets and subheads and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's why he's a doctor. But one of the things he was talking about was how to better integrate the pentatonic and the modes. And it's something that I spend a lot of time doing and something I actually am very, very conscious of because it's kind of, if you will, it's the shifting of gears that I think a lot of players, the great thing about asking my students what they, their impediments are on the instrument, it usually reveals kind of what everybody is struggling with. And so we're going to spend some time talking about that. But before we do that, first of all, everybody, if you want to take a moment and check in and let me know where you're coming from, I am streaming to 3 different places today. 2 different Facebooks, my personal and my official, and also to YouTube. So my official Facebook, I kind of have to monitor because of the way I use streaming there. It doesn't feed in the chat right away. So I kind of have a bunch of things to navigate simultaneously here. So I will do my best to answer any questions. But in any case, do me a favor, tell me where you're coming from and tell me how you're doing. Nandini, great to see you. Eric Martin Bureau, great to see you. Chris Alexander, hello. Bruce Adolph, great to see you as well. All right, so here's the thing, is I was at the Southern California Guitar Show, at least I think that's called the Southern California Guitar Show, and my buddy Steph Meffy took me by the RH Custom booth, and holy cow, there was this guitar. Well, there were a number of other guitars there, but I got a chance to meet my new buddy Rick. And, the funny thing is that I will say this. I don't normally suggest buying guitars based solely on looks, but if you're going to buy a guitar based on looks, she's a looker. And so, I'm kind of hanging out, meeting Rick and his wife, and we're hanging out there, Melissa and I kind of keep looking over, just like, holy cow. And, I think Rick must have noticed that and kind of said, well, do you want to play the guitar? And here's the thing, I'll be perfectly honest, a lot of the time guitars that are made for looks don't always have, the same finesse that goes into the actual playability in terms of just really not only playing great, but actually being a phenomenal instrument. I'm not dissing beautiful guitars, but I'm saying that I've played a lot of really gorgeous guitars that were just a little flat. And that was not the case with this instrument. So, and this is, I'd have to say, one of, if not the most beautiful top I've ever seen. I mean, just holy cow. So, first of all, I've got some details here because that's a good thing. So it is a sapelli body, which I understand is a distant variant of mahogany/koa. It is a 5A quilted top. Ah, right. My buddy Rick actually sent through a photo. So this is crazy. Hang on a second. Let me grab this here. There we go. And I don't quite know how I'm going to get to it, but this is kind of nuts. I guess I'm going to see if I can get to it in preview, and let's see if I can do this without breaking the web. But the amazing thing is you can see this piece of wood. All right, who knows what's going to happen? Piece of wood that basically came down in a fire, and which is kind of hanging out in some kind of creaky sort of Seattle-y, Washington sort of thing. Look at the natural figuring on that wood, and that's where this guitar came from. I mean, just like, holy cow, look at that log. You're like, gonna make a guitar out of that, and boom, that's what happened. All right, so roasted bird's eye. Look at that, holy cow. And I'm down with the roasted thing. All right, I'll try not to overly self-indulge. With a Pau Ferro fingerboard. And in case you guys don't know, the reason you're seeing a lot of Pau Ferro is because of the whole endangered wood thing. And I am digging this neck. It is a nice, although Rick will make basically, because it's RH custom guitars, but I am digging a larger neck on a number of instruments. And the reason being is that, you know, I think I've mentioned before this concept, hang on a second, kind of around kind of the shoulder of the neck. But the whole thing about kind of the bigger the neck, you go from traditional pentatonic that, but if you want, you want to get a little faster, with the pentatonic, you bring the thumb not all the way down into classical hand position, but kind of more of this gentle thumb. Position, and it kind of allows you to hang out there-ish, which isn't here, and I'm digging it. All right. And he only by the way, Rick only makes one of these at a time. They're truly custom. So this has got rocket pickups that are tweaked specifically for each instrument, which means they are truly custom. And I'm obviously reading notes here. Grover locking tuners in this sucker. Stays in tune, gorgeous. Flame maple binding on the neck and the pickup rings, but also take a look. He does his thing where the top has obviously got this lovely finish, but he's using the maple on the side here as binding, and I just love it when luthiers do that. So. So, let's see, what else can I tell you? Eric Martin Bureau, I miss you too, my friend. Fretwork is outstanding. You know, kind of my whole thing is if I have this kind of this sixth sense that if I pick up a guitar, I can always find the one fret that's funky. Haven't found one. All right, somebody's texting me, or I'm getting some message. Maybe that's a Facebook message. So what makes a guitar sound great, right? So one of the things that I look for is I want to listen for the body. But I also want to listen for the finish on the top, that little bit of attack that's present, so you get the bloom. Dynamics. Can it get sensitive? And then kind of navigate between the extremes of sensitivity. And yes, you can. Now, what's cool here is you got a three-way switch. I'm actually going to also point out, look at the lovely figuring on that. That's just like, holy cow. In the bridge position, you've got what I think is not a coil tap. Maybe it is. I'd forgotten. I should know, but I don't. But that impacts both the bridge position and the middle position. I should be able to kind of... And the neck does nothing. Let's add a little bit of this. That's the fuzz phase. Now, let me see if I can pull up a little bit of a backy wacky track on this. Hang on a second. And obviously the fuzz phase will make a little bit of noise, but we're guitar players, we can deal with that. Let's lose some fuzz bass. Shush. Okay, well, that should get us well through kind of this whole concept where we're starting off with today. And first of all, again, thank you for tuning in. So let's take a moment and kind of, first of all, let me make sure. There we go. Okay, good question. I'm going to jump right in there. Braxel, great to see you. Good morning. Is it Braxel or Braxol, or I guess I'm going to find out. I'm thinking about the Steve Vai deal for next year, the guitar camp. Yes, yes, yes. I do not think it includes airfare. It does not. Oh, wait, come back. How do you get it planed? Do you bring your own guitar? Planned, right. I've not been to one of these ever. Okay, great question. So earlier this week, I had the privilege of sharing about Braxel. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Hence not the two L's on the end. Braxol would be something that you would use to clean a guitar or something. Gran tono, bene, molto bene, and gracias, or whatever it is. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. Awesome. So here's the thing. So the Steve Vai Camp is going to happen next year. And I am super, super, super excited about it. There's going to be a ton of amazing, ridiculous guitar players. And the way these camps work, this one is in Vegas. This is the first one in Vegas. You kind of show up there. It's at a hotel. It's 3 nights and 4 days of musical awesomeness. Basically a day of master classes, and just, Steve will do usually an hour or two master class. Sometimes in the morning and in the afternoon, and then the other people are kind of factored in around all of that. Amazing cast of characters. But the other thing that happens that Steve does that's just absolutely maniacal is he jams with every single camper. So basically, if you ever wanted to show Steve Vai what you got, come on, Stevie, step up in the ring. Let me show you what I got. And, Steve is so incredibly accommodating at these camps. He is a brilliant teacher. He's a brilliant host. He's a brilliant guitar player. He's a brilliant guy. And he just really goes out of his way to create an amazing experience. And he will basically jam for 2 or 3 hours nonstop every night with the different campers. And they come up and they play with Steve and the band. It's just kind of like, it's pretty awesome. And the neat thing is that the last one of these, Steve kind of doesn't just, sit there and kind of go, oh, whatever. You'll trade with Steve, although I should say you'll solo and then Steve will solo. It's kind of the way it traditionally works. But one of the things is that you got a chance to kind of see Steve kind of in a a very casual environment, interacting with everybody. It's really, really cool. And this band basically hangs out and plays for hours and hours and hours. It's an amazing experience. And I absolutely cannot wait. And let's see, hold on a second. Let me pull up the URL here and see if I can once again break the internet. Vai Academy 6.0. All right, let's see here. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's see here. All right, hang on. Let's see if I can pull this up and again not break anything, which is not always guaranteed. Hold on. Let me get here. There we go. And let's get over to, oh, the scene is locked. Hang on a second. Let me get back over here. And let me go to, Mitchell, Joe Robinson, I should say Smoking Joe Robinson, Billy Sheehan, Yvette Young, Tommy Emmanuel, and if you scroll that business somewhere, hang on a second, you'll get to some of the other, all the goodness you would want to know. And look at all those folks there having such a good time. And various people involved, and my word, there's even yours truly. So I am super, super excited. Oh, hey, there I am again. Hi, right next to me. Hey, I pointed in the right direction for once. Okay, sorry, I'm having way too much fun here, but all right. In any case, it's going to be an amazing experience, and you know, like, look at that collection of players. Holy wow, right? So I'm super excited. VaiAcademy.com. Okay, awesome. All right. First of all, again, thanks everybody for tuning in this morning. Let's see if I can. There we go. This is the one that I don't normally see the question. Brett Singer, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. Hang on. Where'd my comments go? There we go. What's my signal chain with that fine X? So the amazing thing is that this is the GT1000 core once again. And I will turn the delay off here real quick. And so the funny thing is, this is basically, and this little box just never ceases to amaze me. There we go. And boom. It's a... And that is basically a deluxe model. And with a tube screamer. And I think there is also a little tiny bit of a D. No, they're both tube screamers. Are we stacking tube screamers? We got to stack tube screamers. And I don't normally like a room reverb. But I sure do on this one. I would probably go in and edit it just a little bit. All right, let me bring the delay back on. There we go. No, not yet. There we go. And the interesting thing about this particular sound, I spent a lot of time playing with it yesterday. Yes, sirree. But I'm working on an instrumental album that's probably going to have a couple of vocals on it. Not me singing. But the whole thing is that this is a tone that I accidentally dialed up. So on the GT1000 core, there's this thing you can do where you can reduce the range of presets, and pretty much all the modelers would do that, so you don't accidentally go into bank 500. You can only choose one of 4 presets, and this was one of the 4 that happened to come up. And initially, I kind of heard it, and I was like, hang on, let me get rid of the delay for a second, because it was without the delay. And at first, you kind of hear it, and you're like, okay, there's not much going on there. And then I was jamming along with a guy named Kingfish, not actually in real person, jamming along with his with his Apple Music Essentials. By the way, if you haven't checked out Kingfish, you are missing something very special. And I listened to this tone, and at first, like, and it's an interesting thing. So before we get into this modalized pentatonic thing, I am traditionally more of a high gain kind of, look at the Mark IIc Plus and the JP2C behind me, right? And well, not the Jimi Hendrix one, but the JVM 410JS, right? Those are high gain amplifiers. So you put on a tone like that doesn't have much to it, and you're like, man, how am I going to manufacture something that actually sounds like... You just sit there and work out. I was kind of like, oh, I'm loving this sound. The guitar doesn't hurt behind it. And you kind of get the point. I was like, holy cow. Initially at first I was like, and I was like, oh, this is going to make me work for it. But it really kind of coaxed me into going, hey, what can you do when there's a very medium amount of gain, right? But you want to try and... But once I kind of got my feet wet and kind of got some motion going, I'm like, oh, wow. So, what was great, it was just a wonderfully happy action. And so I'm kind of like, okay, now there's a whole world of lower gain tones that I'm super excited about discovering. All right, hang on a second. I see some comments and questions here. Mike Mitchell, great to see you, my dear friend. Rafa, what's going on, my man? Hopefully I will see you at Vai Academy 6-0. All right. Alan, I don't think so. But Alan, I got a story for you. Just for you. All right. So we will get to this modalized pentatonic. Hold on a second. Thank you. I'm doing better about managing multiple questions and threads. Okay. Price does not include airfare. You do bring your own guitar. They sometimes will, so you'll need to kind of handle all that stuff in terms of just kind of getting booked there. There are basically the hotel package is part of the deal. So the way they're set up, I'm sorry, I wasn't more specific. It's kind of this immersive event. And the idea is you stay on site. They have hotels that are large enough that they have the ability to use either conference rooms and or breakout rooms for the different sessions. So quite often, this is a little bit of the challenge. Nuno's going to be doing something over there, and I don't know, I'm doing something while all these other people are doing something. People actually show up to my classes, which is always kind of amazing because I wouldn't, because, it's just all this great stuff. And then at night, there's, in addition to kind of, jamming with Steve, there are kind of breakout jam rooms. Chris Cisneros, a great player, kind of one of the other Dreamcatcher event staff guys, is part of that. Gosh darn it, what is her name? There we go. Stephanie Bradley, there we go, is also going to be part of the event. And so the neat thing is you get a chance to kind of, I traditionally do these little combination of teaching jam sessions. And I kind of did this at the Patrucci camp where, we'll have some sort of a backing track or some sort of progression like we're going to go over in a moment, sort of, where we talk about modalized pentatonics. But the idea is that you ideally bring your guitar, so you're comfortable because you're on your own instrument. There are frequently some loaner instruments available, but not a ton. So you cover your airfare to and from, but usually just about everybody stays at the venue. There are some people that, if you live in Vegas, maybe you just want to motor your way over there, and I get that. But it's still a little kind of like, oh, I got to get up, I got to go to there. It's kind of cool to stay at the venue, but, there haven't been any, well, actually, there have been some acoustic ones in the North Bay, but they're far enough away from me that I would have stayed at the venue. But the point being is that, by the way, hang on a second. Let me get the exact date. The date, nothing but the date. There we go. 4 days of nonstop guitar, August 4 through 8, 2022. Hilton Lake, Las Vegas Resort and Spa. Gotta have my nails done, right? Kidding. Especially if you saw my poor nails. I do need to get them done, but I have this for that. I'm a little wacky this morning and kind of enjoying it. So the idea is that, again, you handle the airfare, but you're there, and it's immersive. Meals are included, and it's just an amazing experience. It's basically guitar 24/7. It is a phenomenal experience. I have to say, a number of the people that hang out on these live streams, a number of the people that I know on social media, come to these camps. And the great thing about this, Braxel, that you'll just love is the people are cool. Because I remember the first one of these events I went to, it was a, oh, look at that. I'm checking out Steve's guitars. He's got the Sustainiac and his Pias and all of these guys that he's holding there. But, oh, that's an extra control. Oh, that's that's an interesting, he's got an extra control on there. Hang on, let me go to that. Just 1 second. Mr. Vai has got a little something custom going on there. Mr. Vai's guitars, you'll see the two little switches, and then there's an extra volume control / tone control. My guess is that has to do with the Sustainiac. All right, so the people are really awesome. Eric Martin Bureau, that's where I met him there. Who else is on this have I met at these camps? For today, Nandini, of course. Hello. There we go. And the people are just, because you go to one of these, the first one, you're kind of like, are the people going to be like, 80s guitar players? I can play that better. And it's not like that. It's totally a family vibe. And it's one of the greatest things ever. Here we go. Thank you. All right. Awesome. Yes, I will see you, Tyler. Awesome, 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 awesome. Brett, yes, thank you very much. And here's the thing, is it's everything that you kind of probably would hope it would be. The one thing that you generally don't get a chance to do is spend hours hanging out personally with Steve Vai, telling them about your life story. And there are some folks that come to these events that sometimes have a little bit more of an expectation of what the artist can do. And the artist there is primarily there in a teaching mode, which means that they spent a huge amount of personal time with everybody. They wouldn't be able to teach. So that, that is worth saying. But again, especially Steve, he's just there. And he's on, basically, as long as he's awake, he's there teaching. It's pretty amazing. He's kind of like the ever-ready guitar bunny. All right. Yes. Nandini, I think technically Danny was involved with some other camps, and I think there may have been a camp in New York that was technically a Dreamcatcher camp before the 2014 G4 experience. But I don't know for a fact, and I should. But the 2014 G4 experience was our first camp, which is so cool. They're so much fun. And, the neat thing is that, I love being able to kind of these late night, after kind of the evening I forgot to mention, there's evening concerts. So, Steve will have, the first night will have a giant concert, and, traditionally each one of the quote unquote headliner artists has their own night or a group of nights, and it's just kind of nuts. Yes, and it's just crazy. And, so quite often there'll be kind of Steve and some members of his band or whatever kind of sitting at a table. They're not off in some green room sequestered away. They're just eating at the commissary like us ordinary folks. And it's just unbelievably cool. Unbelievably cool. All right. So I said I was going to teach today, and gosh darn it, I'm going to do it. All right. So here's the thing. This combination of incorporating, and let me know if I didn't answer your question, but I'm going to jump in to this next thing just so I actually keep my word to it. Good. All right. So this whole Dorianized pentatonic, Phrygianized pentatonic, and this is so funny to say this, and I love this, Minorized pentatonic, and basically what I'm doing for these is I'm just kind of outlining the modal notes on the top two strings. Hello, come on, switch over to Phrygian. There we go. All right, so let's see. I want to kind of walk and talk my way through this. So that's kind of written like that could be, as visually, it's technically written at the third fret, because if you kind of like 1, 2, 3, but you could play that anywhere. And really all it's doing is saying, hey, you're going to play the minor pentatonic. And I actually didn't include just the stock minor pentatonic, but if you left out this 2 and 3 on the second and first strings, it'd basically be 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. But adding 4, let's go to Dorian. Dorian, we're going to add that 1, 3, 4 and 1, 3, 4 there. And so the thing about that is that if you look at the minor pentatonic scale, that first octave, that first note is G, that is B flat. Now, teaching point, I love this. And somebody out there, I'm going to make your day. And I'm very excited about this. So is that note that's halfway between A and B, in this case, an A sharp or a B flat? Our tonal center, in this case, G, is what determines that. So the deal is that the major scale, the smallest distance between two notes is a half step. And the largest distance between any two adjacent notes, I should say, is a whole step. So either a half step or a whole step, kind of indicated by one finger and two for whatever reason. Half step, whole step. So the deal is, if I've got a note that is a step and a half apart, that means that it's either subdivided by a whole step and a half step, or a half step and a whole step, which means that if it's G, there's going to be some sort of A, either a G, A, in between here, which means this is B flat, or G, A flat, B flat. But regardless, this is going to be G and B flat. Let me explain that again. Because this is a step and a half apart, this G, this can't be some sort of A. It's got to be some sort of B note, because there's got to be some sort of A note in between. So this is either G, A, and B flat, or G, A flat, and B flat. But regardless, G minor pentatonic is G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat. And if we were to take those top two strings, which we can also think of this as one, and from the major scale, the first note is here, second note is there, third note is there. So this would be a flat 3. So formula-wise, you can think of it as 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3. So basically, we're taking the 5, flat 7, 1, and flat 3. And for Dorian, we're adding the natural 6 and the natural 2. For Phrygian, we're adding the flat 6 and the flat 2. And for minor, we're adding the flat 6 and the natural 2. So Dorian, Phrygian, minor. So if I were to kind of outline that, adding the Dorian graphic, there we go, Dorianized Pentatonic. There we go. So say we've got some little... I think I've detuned this just a little bit, so let me fix that little problem there. So the Dorianized pentatonics, you could kind of take The way I'm setting this up, because this is one of the other mysteries of the universe for people. So I'm thinking, if you think about, for those of you that are students of mine, the triad chord relay, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Steve Vai refers to that as chord scale. So that's basically the 1, 3, and 5 a major, 1, 5, 3, 5 a Dorian, 1, 5, 3, 5 a Phrygian, 1, 3, 5 a Lydian, 1, 3, 5 a mixed Lydian, 1, 5, 3, 5 a minor, 1, 5, 3, 5, 5 a Locrian, and 1, 3, 5 a major. And if you think about the 2 chord, 4 chord, and 5 chord, that's basically a great way to set up the sound of the 2 mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Back to G. And I'm just changing the order. So I'm basically outlining G minor 7, basically a B flat major, and a C major. And in so doing, and we're taking that pentatonic and we're adding that note and that note, which is the 6 and 2. What's neat about that is, as long as you've got kind of some Dorian vibe, I added a few other little critters that I'm going to take away. And I am playing that little fat 5. But you can easily just kind of add those in. And the reason I just outlined the notes on the top 2 strings is it just makes it really easy to go, cool, I'm adding 2 extra notes on the top 2 strings. Done. Moving on to the Phrygianized Pentatonic. Instead of having to do all the having to navigate the entire neck, we're just saying kind of the vibe of the pentatonic. And the neat thing about that, instead of having to know the Phrygian up and down the neck, not that there's anything wrong with it. Most people know that pentatonic. And just being able to outline that flat 6 and flat 2. You can also just use something like this. and you instantly have freeze-dried modes. Moving on. The minorized pentatonic. That's not to be confused with the minor pentatonic, but basically what we're doing is we're adding the flat 6 and the natural 2 of the minor scale, or what some people would refer to as the minor scale, or the Aeolian scale. The great thing about the minor scale it's a really pretty scale, even though it's slightly sad, but it's really cool. All right. Let's see here, make sure I'm not missing anything. There we go. All right, hey, hold on a second. I've lost. Now, I know when I do this and get all the comments, it's going to, for a moment, going to open up the audio. I know that because it does it. Come on, don't. On a second, I've lost. Now, I know when I, like I said, in any case, all right, now I should be able to scroll the comments, and no, I can't. Thank you very much, Facebook. What is... Come on. And it's going to do the audio thing again. All right. I can do it like this. Hang on a second. Vai Academy. There we go. All right. Good. All right. So let's do this here. All right. Hey, nice guitar. Who said that? There we go. Oh, Rafa. Hey. Yes, missed that one. This is an RH. RH Custom, and it is, well, it speaks for itself, and holy cow, like, it plays and sounds as great as it looks, and it's a showstopper. It was the most beautiful guitar at the SoCal Guitar Festival, need I say more, and I have the privilege of being able to borrow it for right now, which is pretty darn exciting. Rick, thank you very much. Rick is a craftsman. I mean, just holy moly. All right, it's got the belly cut for those of us who developed a dad bod over COVID. And it's just gorgeous, sounds great. 7.5 pounds, give or take. Maybe a little bit less. So thanks again, Rick. Much appreciate this. It's a short-term loan that is here. All right. Oh, awesome. What's going on, Jeff? Great. I can't bring this in, but basically, Yo Doug have been to 4 Dreamcatcher events. Hello. I highly recommend them. Thank you for that. Awesome. Wes Leroy. Good news, Doug. I bought a Gretsch Sparkle Jet. Hello. Awesome. And a Fractal Audio FM9 in the last 2 weeks, and my wife didn't divorce me. Well played. The good folks at Fractal Audio have a loaner FM9 on its way to me. And so I am very excited and waiting impatiently for said thing to arrive. All right, so sorry, Alan, I didn't finish the story. I knew there was something I needed to do here. Hey, what's going on, Rick? You know, I got a friend request and then I went to reply and I wasn't able to reply to it. But great to see you. Welcome, my friend. God bless you. Great to see you. All right. Oh, Alan, with great pleasure. Happy to include those. And it, right, it just kind of... It really kind of helps fill in the dots or something. I don't know. All right. So, Alan, I got the funniest story because you got the PV Classic. So, basically, I'm making a kind of an instrumental, and it's becoming, it was originally going to be a classic rock thing, but it's kind of almost becoming an instrumental blues rock album that's going to have some vocals on it, which I guess doesn't mean it's completely instrumental because I actually want people other than just guitar players to potentially listen to it. In any case. Different conversation, but because it's largely classic and blues rock and southern rock driven, I've decided I'm going to buy a PV Mace. And for those of you who are not in the know, that was kind of the Leonard Skinner amp. Now, technically, there are kind of two variants. There's the pre-VT series one, which is actually technically what the Skinner guys were playing, and then there's the VT series that came just after it. And to my understanding, they're very close. There we go, Rick. Sapele is a little bit heavier, but well worth the sound it gives. Yes, it is. I digress. So I've got a guy that's got a PV mace that I'm in the process of procuring, and then there's a PV 412 cabinet that I'm also in the process of procuring. So but the hilarious thing is that when I was about 7th or 8th grade, my dad had seen that I was serious enough about the whole guitar thing that he marched me down to the local music store, which was Don Weir's Music City, where, and I've mentioned that store before, and it's actually pretty, wait a second, what? Hang on a second. I didn't know that. All right, Alan, we need to connect here, because you'll be able to fill me in. Griffin, with great pleasure, very kind, much appreciated. And in theory, the album will be done by then. So thank you for that. That's appreciated. This is something very near and dear to my heart. So when other people are responsive, it means a lot. Thank you. Oh, there we go. All right. So the thing is that I think I started with I don't think I went to the classic. I think we started with a deuce, and like I blew 2 or 3 of those up. Just like took it home, cranked it up, played for an hour, somebody blew. Got another one, same thing. And so like I went through about 4 of them, including a mace or 2, but finally ended up with the mace, which was, ironically, it was an amp that I owned back in the day, and it would have been pre-VT series. So Alan, maybe you and I can connect at some point, and you can maybe give me the dissertation about the difference between the pre-VT series mace and the VT series mace, because the one I'm going to get, there's actually a pre-VT series mace that is on Reverb, but the guy won't ship. And there's another one that is for sale, but I'm buying it, so don't nab my amp if you can personally do that. Rick, that's how we roll. So thank you for that. Right back at you. That's how we do this thing. That sounds great. I look forward to it, and will do. So ironically, I'm chasing PV here. By the way, Rick, I didn't mean to minimize your comment there, but I really wanted to let you know that I saw that and wanted to bring that in. So right back at you. Okay, so I have fallen in love with Leonard Skinner. And I realize Leonard Skinner is not a person, but like, if any of you have a chance to watch the documentary that's on Netflix, it's awesome. And if you grew up listening to classic rock or Skinner, I can almost assure you, with great pleasure, Rick, I love you, but you knew that. I basically multiple times over watching the documentary, I'm in tears, because I remember being in my buddy Greg Smith's house, and when One More From the Road was new, listening to that record going, I'll never be able to do that, but or going, I'll be able to do that someday, but because I was like in 7th grade, but the idea of actually being able to do some of those things really, I kind of sucked really bad, but I had aspiration, which is a good thing. The point being is listening back, to that, and listening to those guys talk, and listening to their journey, and listening to them play some of that stuff. It's deeply emotional to me because of the role music played to a non-athletic, not super tall kid at a slightly uncomfortable time for many of us, 7th grade. And music was kind of everything to me. It was kind of about the only thing that I had besides my family. And so, and they're gone, right? So at a certain point, you're just kind of like, well, my wife, obviously, but the point being is at a certain point, your parents, they die. It's funny how that works. So the point being is like, it was deeply emotional to hear them at different times, and playing a certain piece of music would literally just bring me to tears. I was like, holy cow. Because it's just so close to the experience, the guitar experience. So there's a video I came across of a guy playing a mace, and it's just, I think it's Give Me 3 Steps rather. And it's just the tone. I'm like, and there's an Ampeg V4 that's kind of over there that I picked up a couple weeks ago that is rumored to be, I read an interview with Joe Perry years ago where I'm pretty sure it was Rocks. He said, yeah, he and Brad Whitford were using these kind of souped up V4s that they had at the studio where they recorded Rocks. And if it wasn't Rocks, it was Toys in the Attic. Again, seminal records for me. So I'm in the process of kind of getting the matching cabinet, because the idea is to really do this. And then kind of once all the stuff is assembled, I'm going to put together basically a classic rock profile and capture pack based on these amps, set up with different guitars that you can kind of plug in and kind of have at these different sounds, which makes me, it's a shared experience, because music is a shared experience. Again, the comments here from Rick and Alan and Griffin, this is the thing that I love about music, and this is the thing I love about now. And I'm not going to beat up on poor Mark Zuckerberg. He and his millions and his all the influence in the world, just like all of us, he had a not good week. And the great thing about music, when we have a not good week, we can put it on, and it just somehow kind of makes things better in a way that really nothing else does. And it's an amazing gift, and it's an amazing thing to be able to share. I mean, think about how few things we've got left that people can kind of come together and in unity just kind of go, we're all here together. It's an amazing experience. So, okay. Shane Wise, what do you got going on there? Okay. Hey, Doug, where do you feel between Billy's 8s and Steve's 14s? So that's a great question. So every single one of the guitars I treat as its own creature. And that's a really good question. Because the $1 million thing that I'm trying to do, Bobby Valdez, good morning. Good, I can see both chats, which means that like I've got them revealed. I think I got this together today. If you had seen me 2 minutes before I went live, it would not have looked like that, but so be it. By the way, there will be a must-own gear coming a little bit later. I do these must-own gears every Saturday, but I just didn't have time with some other stuff. But it's going to be on the Mini K47 microphone. That'll be happening a little bit later in the day. I'll be putting that out on YouTube. By the way, on my YouTube videos and on these, but the live streams, that helps. But the live streams, I pull them down after a little bit. The Van Halen one from last week, not obviously with Van Halen, but on the book, I'm going to put a new intro, and I'm going to push that back up. So the more comments, especially on any of the demo videos, even if it's like, hey, Doug, you suck. Well, don't do that. But, hey, Doug, it's a huge help. So the Mini K47 is basically kind of the one mic that everybody can afford that you can put on anything. And I'm repurposing a demo I did for them that has me doing all these different sound sources, that it's just kind of, you know what? Hang on a second. Let me bring that. Actually, no, I'm gonna have a new must-own gear next week. So hang on a second. Let me find this, and I'm gonna pull this up, and I'm gonna do this, and that's in my downloads. Give me just a moment. Let's see if I can do this without breaking anything again. You and unlock scene. Let me get out of the minor. That guy, scene's unlocked here, I think. And we're going to go for choose file. There we go. And I'm going to be gone for just a second, but this is one microphone being used across a ton of different sound sources. And it's just like, it's kind of it's the Roswell Pro Audio Mini K47. Let's take a listen.
tour like a ghost into the fog where no one notices the contrast of white on white. In between the moon and you, angels get a better view. The crumbling difference between wrong and right. I walk in the air between the rain, through myself and back again. Where? I don't know. Maria says she's dying. Through the door I hear her crying. Why? I don't know.
That was a lot of fun. One microphone, Roswell Pro Audio Mini K47. That video will go up a little bit later today. All right, Griffin, too kind. Hang on a second. Let's see. Well, thank you, my friend. That's appreciated. Bobby coming in on the other front. Hang on. Yep, it is kind of this lovely musical thing that brings people together in a very special way. Alan, I will definitely message you. There we go. Hang on. I did not meet the guys in Quicksilver. Hang on. Come over here. There you go. But I believe that John Cipollina was in Quicksilver, and Mario, who I have not met, his son, was in Huey Lewis in the News, as I recall. But I know Steph Burns, who played in Huey Lewis in the News. Good morning again, Bobby. Great to see you. Always a pleasure. All right. Yes, Mace and there we go. The combination Jason Mace and GT1000 core. Who could ask for more? Very funny, Daniel. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Yeah, so JC120. So, the neat thing that kind of happened around this V4, and we're going to kind of chat our way out here, but I think that I'm down with that. Michael Brock, hello. Oh, I'll come over to you in just a moment, Michael. That is very kind of you. We will. I'll come back to that in just a moment. I want to finish up over here with said JC120. So the V4, which is kind of a left turn heading into the JC120ville. The neat thing is that the gear page has a wide range of people that are on there, and most of whom are exceptionally cool. Some of them are a little in the cork sniffer realm. The majority, though, are really cool. So I put up this post because I've got this vintage V4, and I was trying to decide not only should I get the matching cabinet, but there are 3 variations of speakers on there. So it's good if you're going to kind of go and create a post there. You show up with some research if you're not going to just kind of reply to an existing post, right? So what's great is a sea of really lovely comments kind of came in. Oh, that was my main rig. Yeah, I really like the CTS speakers, and blah, 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 blah. Just like, it was like the peanut butter and the jelly, and just like, it was neat, just the vibe around that. So the JC120, for those of us that are hardcore JC120 users, I have 2 of them. And, Metallica, and those of you who are Joe Satriani fans, you might not know this, but the melody of Always With You, Always With Me was recorded with a DS1 and a JC120, I kid you not. This is a Roland 212 combo, 120 watts, 60 watts per side, and has the ever-famed CE1 chorus / vibrato built into it. Started off primarily as a keyboard amp, but guitar players kind of just love it. And so let's see, you can hear it on, in addition to Metallica, it's just kind of one of those sounds you hear in a bunch of places, and I'm not going to remember all of the ones. You'll hear it with Nile Rodgers and Duran Duran. Niles using a JC120 on Skin Trade, blatantly a JC120. And Joe Satriani sang background vocals on that very famous Crowded House hit. Now that I got round here in my head, I can't hear that song. But that's also a JC120. It's just kind of a great sounding amplifier. Also a great pedal platform, and it's kind of per that demo there with the Roswell thing, with a little bit of compression and a timeline. Just a great stereo amp. That was 2 of them. Hence why I said I have two of them. Again, with the great hair. Griffin, you're too kind. Thank you very much. Hair matters. You gotta say that. Chiropractor, yeah, no, the GT1000 core is much better on the back than the cabinets. For Chris, you never know. We'll take up that conversation offline sooner than later. So the whole thing is that I'm getting ready to do with some friends of mine. I haven't mentioned the Worship Tutorials guys for a while, and also my buddy over at Tone Junkie. We're going to be giving away a quad Cortex, and that will have a bunch of presets on it. We're going to be doing it as a Christmas thing. So somebody's going to walk away with that and a bunch of presets. And it's going to be, or excuse me, neural captures that we did. And it's going to be really cool. Tone Zone. Yep, great pickup. Absolutely phenomenal. The interesting thing is a Tone Zone is what I would describe as a medium-high gain humbucker. But I am kind of, spending a bunch of time playing a range of instruments, including Gibsons. I didn't finish the question, Michael. My bad. I get distracted about the strings, and I'm going to jump back into this Muscle Shoals thing. Every one of these guitars kind of wants to have its own action, its own pickups, its own string gauge, because it really has its own unique voice. And the great thing about this is that I am desperately trying to discover what it is that I'm going to do playing wise. We're all on this journey, right? Whoever sent that up, thank you. Good morning, Sean Bullock. My go-to karaoke song, I love it. To try and find that thing that when we pick up the guitar, people go, I knew who that is. And, so I'm, it's, I've said this a couple of times, several times over the past week. I feel like I'm about 2 years away from really finding that thing. But the good news is every week I get a lot closer. And this week I got a lot closer with this little tone here. And this week I kind of... I kind of did this kind of countrified blues thing that's kind of on top of the... So any place I got to hold up. And I'm kind of going, oh, there's something. And there's a bunch of country players that I will never touch, but that kind of... with a little bit of Steve Morse thrown in there. All right, a lot of Steve Morse thrown in there, but I'm going, oh, I'm closer to it. And I'm kind of like, oh, this is really interesting. The other thing is initially I was like, nothing faster than an 8th note or a 6th note. But... kind of like, oh, okay. 2 years. because I'm like, by the time 2 years has happened, I'll actually have, like, there's the initial discovery licks no matter what you're doing. Like, remember, like, okay, there was that first moment where you kind of went, okay, I got that. Now what, right? So the idea is there's a developing a vocabulary beyond the first step into that, where all of a sudden there's a bunch of things that you do that when you do them, you know. You're intentional when you play those things where it's like, I don't know, try that, you know, because the danger of, I don't know, trying that is that the days that you like, your le poo-poo, it has a tendency to reveal itself. Okay. Okay. All right. I digress, but somehow we do that. All right. So they are tens on the quilted dream. Thank you very much, Rick. What are these, by the way? Oh, hang on. Diodario's. That's right. We talked about these. These are the XL 110s. So why do they call the XL 120s 120s when they're 9s? Who knows? All right, hang on a second. I'm going to come back to this muscle shows conversation here, but hang on a second. All right, here we go. Let's cite JC120. Bobby Valdez, other JC120 users, thank you very much. Sting, Adam and the Ants. I'm going to have to hit this. Oh, so obviously Bobby Valdez went through a British thing. I'm going to come back to this. Paul Weller, the Jam Style Counselor, the Boomtown Rats, The Edge, right, of course. Oh, come on, there we go. Pride in the Name of Love, I think that there's a JC120 in that video. Matt Bellamy, Muse. Again, you're on the music, the British tip. Joe Walsh, didn't know that. Joe Perry, didn't know that. Wes Borland. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Oh, come back here. I don't know how to make it stick. There's got to be some little trick to that, but I am down with the biscuit. Robert Smith, again, back to the British. Metallica album, thank you very much. Andy Summers of the Police, Billy Duffy of the Cult. Right. Just a great workhorse of an amplifier. Classically goes in a stack. All right, hang on. I'm going to answer a technique theory question. If in the key of A, do you bend the flat 7 note on the second string with the third or fourth? That's a great question, and it totally depends on the. Hold on. Let me just hold on. Do you bend the flat 7 note on the second string with the third finger or the fourth? Totally dependent on what I'm doing, but 99.9%. With the exception of my saw somebody do that in a video yesterday. I'm like, oh, stealing. So that's it. That's different. So that's kind of a whole. So I almost always will bend with either third or the first. I got his little baby pinky and the pinky. It's a baby pinky. So this guy was versus. Speaking of Wes Borland, right? That's not a very Borland-y thing, but he does these crazy bends, which I can't imitate right now, but I'm down with the biscuit. Down with the biscuit. Yeah, wow, definitely, everybody needs a JC120. Yes, they sound amazing. All right, Jim Halbert, Giving a lesson, awesome. How is the silverback? Jim has a beautiful, how old is the silverback but now? Anyway, he's got this lovely Les Paul. We've had an interesting conversation about it previously. But, so it's actually the most embarrassing story I've ever had. I was like, I'm not really down with the silver Les Pauls. And I was like, I wonder if anybody on the stream has the silver Les Paul. And Jim was like, and I'm like, oh, I'm just a moron. So I've decided I love the silver Les Paul, and we're just done with that history. And because I celebrate the silverback, and I've named it the silverback because I think it's the coolest thing ever. So there you have it. Awesome. I hope you had a great lesson, Jim. All right. So thanks, Sean. I'm glad you're digging the tone. Great to see you. Good morning, Michael Brock. So in that amazing documentary, at least I thought it was a pretty amazing documentary. One of my slightly heartbreaking favorite moments about it is where Artemis is talking about my silverback. There we go. Oh, you're on both you're on Facebook and YouTube this morning. Or at least, yeah, or you're on both Facebooks or something. I'm seeing you show up. Wait, nope, you're on YouTube and Facebook. Okay. So the thing is that one of the things that Artemis Pyle is, I'm pretty sure it was Artemis, said, you know, his bandmates died with dignity, you know, just like, kind of, you're in the air and you're coming down. Can't even imagine, right? But, you know, nobody freaked out. You know, he was just like, you know, people were just kind of praying. They were really quiet, you know, and that would be a sobering moment and a sobering moment to survive, you know. But it was a very touching documentary. It was done in such a way that it would, you know, you really felt you kind of were inside the music. And so with the Muscle Shoals record, the first record with Al Cooper, recorded Muscle Shoals, and kind of, you know, Al is kind of reminiscing about, they came in, he said he'd never seen a band rehearse like they were, and, you know, they kind of went into Muscle Shoals. And so, yes, I would love to. So I can't easily draw that in, but I can go a little extra mile to make this happen if I can find my, you know, the funny thing is that there's a range of things that you do in the midst of a live stream, most of which go pretty well. There we go. There's my text overlay tool. But there's always something that's kind of like slightly evasive and harder than it really, without a huge amount of planning, should be. There we go. Let's see if we can read that. No. But I can do this. Here we go. Why are you not letting me? You're supposed to expand. Oh, there we go. All right, so if you ever want to travel to Muscle Shoals and immerse yourself in that Skinner and classic rock vibe, I'll be happy to give you a place to stay, show you around, and introduce you to a few of the fine folks in the area. Michael, that may be the kindest offer I get all day, and I will gleefully and graciously and humbly say thank you, yes, sir. You know, the funny thing is that I think there are pilgrimages. Oh gosh, you know, it's doing that because I mentioned the king of Facebook. They're like, oh, let's make it sputter. I apologize, anybody that's on Facebook. It's not my fault. It should be a hashtag blame Zuck. But that can only result in bad things. All right. So incredibly cool. So the thing is that so many great records were made there, and there's so much history there. Another record that if I'm not careful, I get emotional about, that I'm 99.9% positive was cut in Muscle Shoals, was Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Main Street. Like that guitar part, and but 5 people on the thread are going to remember his name, and I will have forgotten it. But the guitar player that played on that was one of the house guitar players there. And thank you, Michael. Greatly appreciated. And thank you, Rick. I reached out on Facebook just to send a message, and before he passed away, and then kind of reached out to his wife, and just after he did, I just let him know how much I appreciated the guitar on Main Street. Every time I listen to that, I'm like, oh, because it's such an emotional time for me musically, and you go back to this time when you're just like this little, the baby version of you, but the guitar was so important to me then. And the guitar on that track just was transformational, and there's nothing like being able to go back and put something on. There you go, Pete Carr. Thank you very much. There we go. There we go. And Michael Brock simultaneously, like I said, thank you. And yep, there we go. Hang on. And yeah, just ridiculous. Oh, come on, paste already. There we go. And I've got a chat. I love the people who do Ecamm Live, which is what I use here for all this good stuff. But the text tool, there we go. Hang on. There we go. Thank you. And can I do two at the same time? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. But that guitar on that track is just unreal. And just the tone and just kind of the vibe, and it's like it made it. So the whole point about Will McFarlane's a friend of mine, so he was one of the Muscle Shoals guys as well, a ridiculous guitar player. But the music that came out of that era, and the fun. Oh, if you guys get a chance, Google. Freebird isolated solo track, and just prepare to just get it was flipping the 70s, just the most ridiculous pentatonic playing, and the bass playing, holy cow. I mean, just that band, and I didn't see Skinner, but I certainly, they were a fundamental part of, there we go. Hey, Bruce Adolph, you got it. And Will is a lovely, lovely guy, and just a ferocious guitar player. And he and I have kind of become guitar buddies, which I absolutely love, because when he and I first met, I was very much in Shredder Doug mode, so I'm not really the typical. All right, hang on a second. All right, hey, what's going on, Dougie? Hello from down under. I can't bring you. Hold on. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can cut and paste. Hang on. I'll bring it all in. Gosh darn it. Let's see if I can break. I haven't broken anything too badly this morning. The Swampers are mentioned in Sweet Home Alabama. Are they really? Oh, I love that. There we go. All right. So this is going to be all kind of messy, but let me just bring it in here. Hang on a second. Who knows? There we go. Main Street was, let's cover my face. Rule number 1 of what not to do in live stream. Main Street intro was recorded dry. Jerry Masters bounced it to 2 more tracks, physically cut them, and spliced them back at a different offset. And then Doug DeJong, or DeYoung, I gotta add, DeYoung, is the J hard or soft? That's what I want to know. Hey, great to see you, Doug. Always a pleasure. And yeah, we knew that was spliced, but I left that in there just because. Yep, come on. Aww, that's very cute, Rick. And that whole kind is great about the swamp is the Skinner guys actually in what they called Hell House rehearsed on a swamp. Gotta flippin' love that. Come on. All right, so hey, I have a lesson that starts in 1 minute. It's 3:30 a.m. in Brisbane. Doug, it's pronounced soft. I like it hard too. I'm gonna let that one go. I presume you're just talking about the J, but Doug DeYoung, great to see you. Everybody, thanks so much. I appreciate all the comments in the chat and all the Ballad of Curtis Love. Come on. All right, there we go. Bring it on, bring it on. Has got the Swampers, and they're known to pick a song or two. Lord, they give me so much. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much. All right. My lesson starts in seconds. Thank you very much. Bruce, thank you. Dave Morrison, you have a great day. Take a look. So, by the way, those are the isolator stage. Dave, what the heck are those called? Those are the isoacoustic stage ones. That's what those are. And those little isolators enable your speakers to be all groovy. Dave, by the way, if you have a home studio and you aren't using the isolators from isoacoustics underneath your monitors, you're missing an entirely revealing dimension of your mixes and tracking that there's only one way to get it, and it's with the isoacoustics. I have them everywhere, including behind me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This has been so much fun, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Thanks so much. God bless. Take care. Have a great one. And I hope whatever you're doing, you're going to have a ton of fun and have a better guitar week than you did the last time. And hopefully that modal pentatonic thing is a help for some of y'all. Thanks again. What a pleasure. Woohoo! See you next time.